What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Surf Nazis Must Die. So I'm pretty darn sure this is the first Troma movie that I've done on the channel, um, and I sure hope to do a lot more Troma movies on the channel because I am a fan of them. I haven't seen like all of them, or even I haven't even seen like a lot of them, but I've seen, I've seen a couple Troma movies. Some of the ones that I like are Tromeo and Juliet. That one's awesome. Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD. That's a classic. I really like Toxic Avenger 4. That's like that might be my favorite one that I've seen. That one's really good. What else? Class of Nukem High. That's solid. Something that I like now that I'm talking about some of the other ones is a lot of Troma movies have like original theme music for the movie or for the characters, which is absolutely awesome. Like the original theme music is great. Like the Kabuki Man's theme song is I mean top tier, and then the Nukem High theme song, oh my, it's classic. So this this didn't have like an original theme song, but it did have really good music. But that's I'm gonna get to that later. I wrote that down on my likes, but yeah. Another Troma movie that I like that isn't made by Troma but is distributed by them. It's called Bloodhook, and it's this slasher movie where it's like a whodunit. It's like a mystery. Like they don't know who the killer is, and it takes place during this fishing tournament. I think it's called like Muskie Madness. They're trying to catch muskie, and people are just like getting killed with this like giant hook, and like it's like they're just getting killed with a fish hook. That's a solid slasher movie. Really fun, really cheesy, really original, and it's like a fun summer watch. So yeah, basically, I just want to say that yeah, I'm a fan of Troma movies. I haven't seen a whole lot of them, but a lot of them that I've seen are great. There are a lot that I've seen that I don't like. Um, I kind of whenever like in my head I compare Troma to Full Moon because they're both um, long running independent film studios. You know uh, they've been around for a long time. They're still going today, and they make similar types of movies where they make kind of weird, wacky, schlocky, uh, kind of edgy, low budget movies with like a lot of horror elements. So I always compare them in my head. I think they make similar movies and they're similar, studios in terms of like the budgets that they work with. But yeah, Troma for me is similar to Full Moon in the sense that the movies are really hit or miss. And that's the thing with lower budget movies, like they are more hit or miss than like an $80 million movie, because it's like, I don't know, sometimes it's harder to make an entertaining movie for like less money. So there's a lot of Troma movies that I like, but there's like just as many that I don't like, which is like if you all have seen some of my Full Moon reviews, I'm very hit or miss on those, where I like a lot of them, but I also really don't like a lot of them. But anyways, getting into this movie, I was not a huge fan of it. Didn't really get into it. Didn't have that fun of a time with it. This isn't one that I have like really wanted to see that bad. I mean, I've always kind of wanted to see it. It seemed kind of like a wacky concept, but it wasn't that's like high on my list of Troma movies that I want to watch. some of the ones that I really am interested in watching are Poultrygeist seems really good, really crazy, and then Terror Firmer seems good. Um, but yeah, this one I like. I always thought the cover was cool, which that's in my likes too. I'm gonna get to that later. But I always thought the cover was cool, and it seemed like a wacky concept. And I was like procrastinating last night. Like I don't know if you all have this predicament, but I mean, there's like, I got so many movies laying around, and then there's so many movies on streaming nowadays where like, I'm like, what the heck am I gonna watch? So I was just like contemplating like, what am I gonna watch for so long? And I'm like, it's like late. Like I gotta watch something short. So this is like an hour and 20 something minutes. So I'm like, all right, I'll watch that. And I wasn't in the mood for anything like I've been watching like a lot of horror stuff, so I just wanted something kind of like something kind of goofy to watch. But this wasn't even real. There wasn't really that much comedy in this, which is surprising because a lot of the other Troma movies have like a lot of comedy, like especially um, Toxic Avenger 4. That one has some edgy comedy, but in a good way in my opinion. It's like that's what makes it fun. But yeah, I was not a huge fan of this. So now I'm gonna jump into a little plot summary. So you have this gang of neo Nazis, and they're just like posted up on the beach every day. They surf every day, and throughout the movie they fight with a couple other rival gangs. And early on in the movie we're introduced to this older woman, and she's staying at a retirement home because she's getting up there in age, and she probably needs a little assistance with stuff. But she kind of like she's like very independent. She kind of doesn't listen to other people. Like when she's in the retirement home, she's not really like letting the nurses like boss her around. Like even though she's older, she doesn't want you know she her like mind is intact. She doesn't want these nurses bossing her around. And then there's like a sequence where she's like, they're like, yeah, she's always complaining about the view, and then she's just like in the tree cutting down the branch herself so she has like a good view from her room. So like right off the bat she's super likable. She's just this like just like charismatic, funny, like take charge type older woman. But anyways, she has a son who visits her at one point, and his name is Leroy. And like they set him up as like, he's just like a nice, wholesome dude. He's visiting his mom. He gives his mom a kiss on the cheek. He's a good son, and he's like, yeah, Mom, I'm going to the beach, and he saves this older woman at the beach because one of the neo-Nazis is like stealing her purse, and the neo-Nazis aren't happy with that, and basically they start talking talking trash about his mom, which I mean that's like an unwritten rule. You don't do that. You can't talk about someone's mom. That's just, I mean, that's you cross the line right there. So they talk about his mom, and then he like takes down one of the neo Nazis, and then they're pissed, so they kill him, and that actually jumps in. Oh yeah, and then I'll get into that later. You don't even know because I'm just thinking out loud, but yeah, basically, so they kill Leroy, and then Leroy's mom is like just hell bent on getting revenge. She goes, buys a gun. That's like the when she buys the gun, it's super fun and funny because she goes like a little pawn shop or something, and the guy's like, oh, because she's like an older woman, and she's probably never shot a gun before. He like recommends this little pistol that I don't even know. It's like a .22 pistol or something. It's like it's like a little like James Bond gun you could like put in your sock or something. It's like absolutely nothing. Like you couldn't even kill a rabbit with that thing. And she's like, heck no, I don't want that. Like, what is this? What is that gonna do? This little baby gun, you know? She's like, I need something serious. So he's like, all right. I think the gun was like a Walther P38. I'm not like well versed on guns, but then she gets like a legit pistol, and then she you know, goes after the gang of neo-Nazis to get her revenge. But when I was going over the plot, that it made me remember something that I was going to talk about that I forgot to write down. But basically, when Leroy dies, that whole sequence is like the way they filmed it, and not the well, yeah, the way they filmed it and the way they the way they edited it was really good. So you don't from my recollection, you don't really like see him die. Like you don't see any blood or gore, but you see his like it like cuts to like him dying, and like you know he's dying, and then it cuts to his mom walking down the hallway, but you don't know at first. You're like, what is that? Because it's like right while it's happening, and then they keep cutting between like him getting brutalized and dying, and then someone walking down the hallway, and then you see that it's his mom walking down the hallway of the hospital, and it's like a seamless transition. It's like they kind of like splice it together. It's like a kind of a unique editing choice, like where you don't know it at first, and it's like it's not really like chronological, you know. It's like the event of his mom walking happened after, but they like cut between it at like when he's actually dying, even though it happens after. And then yeah, it's just like a seamless transition where she's walking down the hall, and then she finds out that he's dead, and then she's at the funeral, and then it's the whole thing. She's like, he's the last thing I had left, you know. You know, her husband probably passed away or something. You know, she doesn't like. I mean, that's her son. You know, so she's of course she's gonna get revenge. She's gonna go crazy. But yeah, the way they filmed that was insane. And like I said, like you know, trauma movies are lower budget movies. I'm not saying that as like a diss, but it's just like realistic. Like they're lower budget, but I thought that was like really, that sequence was like really unique and well put together. So yeah, I pretty much just jumped into my likes with that, but I definitely like that. I'm just gonna get into the rest of my likes now. So I was talking about music earlier. There's not a theme song like there is in a lot of other trauma movies, but the music was solid. It was super synthy. It was good like action movie music. I thought the concept was funny. It's like outlandish. Like it's this gang of neo-Nazi surfers. It's just random. I mean, it's what you would expect from a trauma movie. It's fun. It's funny. The title's awesome. Surf Nazis Must Die. It's a fun, funny title. I like those like super. It's not that long, but those like long titles. I don't know. It's just they're just fun. I don't know. You gotta have like a 10-word title. It's just like make it extremely over the top. The cover art, like the original cover art, is really sick. It's like this neo-Nazi dude, and he's got like a chainsaw coming through his board, and there's this like chick on the bottom of the wave. He's got like a machine gun. He's got this like claw hand. Pretty sick cover in my opinion. The surfing sequences are just on point. I mean, surfing is just a super cool sport. Whenever I see surfing, I like people surfing, I get so jealous. I'm just like, man, like I wish I could surf. That looks so cool. Like, man, I gotta go surfing. I actually did take a surfing lesson back in the day when I was like a teenager, and I was actually like, you know, I was doing it for the most part, but I didn't do it in like Hawaii or like anywhere where there's huge waves. I just did it in Florida where there's little waves, and I used like a bigger board, but I was like surfing. Like it was like a couple hour lesson, and by the end of the day I was surfing, like surfing for the rest of the day, and then for like the next couple years when I would go to Florida, I would just like surf like on the reg, like just, you know, catch some waves, you know. But yeah, like people who can legit surf, like where they go through like those, just the waves in this movie were huge. How people can go through that little like tunnel of water. I don't know what that's called, but like whoever they got to do the surfing in this movie were absolute pros. I always like seeing surfing. It's just, I already said it. It's super cool. All the surfing stuff in this movie was awesome. Um, yeah, honestly, there's not a ton of like action and fighting. I would call it, this is more of an action movie than a lot of the other Trumbo movies. But like when there was action and gore, the practical effects were pretty good. There's this one instance where one of the neo-Nazis bit this guy in the neck, and there's just blood everywhere. That looked really good. And then spoiler alert, like towards the end of the movie, this one of the neo-Nazi chicks, she gets decapitated and her like head is in the water, and you can see like all the tendons coming out and the veins and stuff. That looked really good. So you got some decent practical effects going on, which I always enjoy. Um, and then the last thing that I have here for my likes is, you know, at the end of the movie, Leroy's mom was just badass. She's just like got the sunglasses going on. She's got the gun. She's got the black mouth. She smoked a little cigar like on some cowboy stuff. Just like wielding the gun with the cigar in the mouth. She's extremely badass. Super likable. Just it's cool because she's like an, you know, she's an older woman. She's like in a retirement home, but then she's just like kicking ass. Like it's contradictory. It doesn't make sense, but I mean, she's definitely about that lifestyle. She's like, you know, a real life action hero. So, yeah, Leroy's mom ruled. Awesome character, in my opinion. Alright, so now, you know, I went over all my likes. Now I'm about to jump into my dislikes here. The first dislike is just, I just thought this was a pretty boring movie. It was just like it wasn't the most boring thing I've ever seen, but compared to other Troma movies, like it wasn't that wacky, it wasn't that funny, and that actually goes into another one of my dislikes. There was like no comedy, and I thought with like the title and the concept there was gonna be more comedy, but this is just a straight up action film pretty much. There's not really any comedy, and the thing is, it's like a lame action movie though. Like the action sequences that are there are cool, but I feel like a lot of the time just nothing's happening. Like sometimes they'll get in a fight with a random person or like a rival gang, and then the end with Leroy's mom was good, but like in between that there was like nothing happening, and the story wasn't that interesting. Like I mean, there weren't, I mean, it was weird. Like it focused more on the villains, and like the only character like that was like that antagonist was Leroy's mom, but like it didn't even really focus on her. Like she just came back at the end. So yeah, it wasn't that funny in terms of the action. So that's like fine if it's not funny, but in terms of the action, there wasn't that much action. Like the action that was there was good, but overall there wasn't enough. The story was pretty lackluster, and then, like I said, Leroy's mom was awesome, but she only really like shines for the last 10 minutes. Like the last 10 minutes of this movie were great, but I'm like, where was that the whole time? Like the pacing was just, it was off. It was just like, okay, some, you know, this random thing happens, and then not like, I don't know, the scenes where it's just like dialogue for this type of movie, I just didn't care, because it's not like, I mean, some movies are all dialogue and they don't need anything else going on, but this, like, I didn't really care about any of the characters. I didn't care that much about the story. I don't know, it just, I didn't have a great time with it. I would not watch this again probably. So yeah, like I said, there was some stuff that I liked about it. It did have some stuff going for it, but I didn't have that fun of a time with it. So yeah, I pretty much said everything that I want to say. So I'm just gonna get into a little recommendation here, and then I'm gonna wrap things up. So, you know, I I really don't think this movie is worth your time. Like I said, I'm a fan of trauma movies. There's quite a few other ones that I really enjoy. I would say don't waste your time with this one. Skip it and just just watch a different trauma movie, you know? That's pretty much all I have to say. Yeah, you know, just this one is was definitely a waste of time. So, you know, I don't know. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching. That has been my review of Surf Nazis Must Die. So yeah, peace out.